My husband burned down our house the night before my medical screening, and I actually thanked him for it. I know how insane that sounds now, but at the time, I thought Greg was trying to protect me. I'd finally gotten my dream job offer after 3 years of being unemployed, 3 years of feeling too anxious and foggy to even leave the house most days. The company required a medical screening, and Greg had been acting weird about it for weeks, saying things like, "What if something shows up?" And "These tests can be wrong sometimes." I figured he was just being paranoid because I took anxiety medication. He'd been extra attentive lately, bringing me special teas, making sure I took my pills, always watching me swallow them down. The night before my test, I was at my sister's birthday dinner when Greg texted that he felt sick and couldn't make it. I drove home around 11 to find our street blocked with fire trucks, our house completely engulfed in flames. Greg sat on the curb with a blanket around his shoulders, arms covered in nasty scratches. I was making tea, he told the fire chief, voice shaking. Something sparked in the kitchen. I barely got out. The chief kept saying how lucky Greg was to be alive. When I collapsed sobbing about losing everything, Greg pulled me close and whispered in my ear, "At least you have a reason if that screening goes badly tomorrow." My whole body went cold, but I was too shocked to process what he meant. He wouldn't stop talking about it. The smoke inhalation, he kept saying, "It'll mess with your results. Make sure you tell them about the fire. They'll understand." He said it 5 times on the ride to his mother's house. The next morning, I failed the screening. Sedatives at 3 times therapeutic levels. The company was understanding about the fire, but couldn't hire me with those results. Greg held me while I cried, whispering how I'd been taking extra anxiety pills lately, how stressed I'd been about the interview. "Remember? You doubled your dose last week." But I hadn't. I knew I hadn't. My memory had been fuzzy lately, but I knew that much. 2 days later, the fire investigator called. "Ma'am, we need to talk about your husband." My legs gave out. They had Greg on security footage buying camping fuel at 3 different stores over the past 2 weeks. Always cash, always wearing a baseball cap pulled low. They'd found accelerant patterns in 5 places throughout our house. They'd found the gas can with his fingerprints in a dumpster 2 blocks away. But then he said something that made me run to the bathroom and vomit. When we searched his car, we found something hidden under the spare tire. A bottle of liquid sedatives, hospital grade, the kind that's completely invisible when mixed in drinks. The investigator drove to my sister's house and sat across from me at her kitchen table. "How long have you felt anxious?" he asked. 3 years, I whispered. "Since right after my wedding." He pulled out his laptop and turned it toward me. Greg's search history filled the screen. Hundreds and hundreds of searches. Sedative dosing. How much before lethal? Memory loss substances. Making someone dependent. Undetectable in drinks. Withdrawal symptoms. How to make wife need me. Making someone think they're crazy. My hands shook as I scrolled. 3 years of morning coffee Greg lovingly prepared, never letting me make my own. 3 years of special bedtime tea he insisted helped me sleep. 3 years of doctor visits where Greg did all the talking, explaining my symptoms while I sat there foggy and confused, believing I was going crazy. The investigator pulled out a thick folder. "We got your medical records. Had the lab test your blood samples from your last ER visit for that panic attack." He showed me the lab results. Numbers I didn't understand, but his face told me everything. "He's been poisoning you systematically since your honeymoon. Small doses at first, then increasing over time. The fire happened because you were finally getting better. A new job meant new insurance, new doctors who'd run proper tests, new blood work that would expose what he'd been doing." He panicked. They arrested Greg that afternoon while he was at work, in front of all his colleagues. The investigator told me Greg tried to run, but they tackled him in the parking lot. At trial, when the judge asked if he had anything to say to me, Greg looked straight at me with those eyes I once loved and said, "I was just trying to keep her calm. You've seen how she gets." Even facing 7 years in prison, he was still trying to gaslight me. I live with my sister now, and my brain is clear for the first time in 3 years. Sometimes I drive past our burned lot and remember those mornings. "Extra strong coffee today, baby," he'd say, watching me drink it all. The prosecutor showed the jury Greg's final search, made the night before the fire. How much sedative before someone dies? He'd searched it 200 times.